Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cultural Conversations, the podcast where we explore the issues shaping our communities, cultures, and everyday lives. I'm your host, Balla, and today we're talking about something deeply important and, honestly, something too many people still struggle to discuss out loud: mental health. Our episode is called Mental Health in the Gambia, Breaking the Silence. Joining me is Lisa, a Texas A&M University graduate with a strong interest in public health and community well-being. Lisa, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Bala. It's truly an honor to be here. I'm really glad we're having this conversation because, mental health touches everybody in one way or another. But in many communities, including back home, it can still feel hard to talk about openly.
Before we dive in, tell us a little about yourself. What inspired your educational journey, and how did studying at Texas A&M shape your perspective?
Thank you, Bala. Growing up, I always wanted to understand people, not just their achievements, but also the struggles they carry quietly. My education helped me see that health is never only physical. Our thoughts, emotions, relationships, and even our environment all shape our well-being. Studying in the United States exposed me to research, to diverse communities, and to more open conversations around depression, anxiety, trauma, and stress. And that really reinforced something simple but powerful. Compassion matters, science matters, and community support matters too. Even with that international experience, I'm still deeply connected to the Gambia. And I believe the best ideas are the ones we adapt respectfully to local culture, not the ones we just copy and paste.
I like that. Adapt, not copy. Because mental health has become a major public health issue worldwide, but in many places, including parts of the Gambia, talking about emotional distress can still feel uncomfortable. So today, we're trying to replace silence with understanding and myths with facts. Lisa, let me start here. Many Gambians grow up hearing things like, be strong, or pray and move on. Why do you think the stigma is still so strong?
That's a really important question. A lot of the stigma comes from limited awareness and from how emotional suffering has been interpreted for generations. Many people were taught to see mental distress as a personal weakness, or even as something shameful, instead of a health issue that deserves care. So people fear being judged, they fear being labeled, they fear embarrassing their families, and because of that, they suffer quietly. Faith is hugely important in Gambian society, and I want to say clearly that faith can be a real source of comfort, hope, and resilience. But mental health challenges can also involve biological, psychological, and social factors. So seeking counseling or medical care does not mean someone lacks faith. The two can work together. It's kind of like this. If someone has high blood pressure, we don't tell them to just hide it and hope for the best. We recognize they may need support. Mental health should be treated with that same seriousness and dignity.
Right. And yeah, that idea that prayer and professional help can exist together is such an important point.
Exactly.
Many families today are also facing financial pressure, unemployment, and changing family dynamics. How do those realities affect mental well-being?
They affect it a lot. Financial hardship creates uncertainty, and uncertainty creates stress. When somebody is struggling to provide food, pay school costs, or meet basic needs, that pressure can affect sleep, concentration, confidence, and relationships. Unemployment can leave people feeling discouraged, isolated, and stuck. Then you add family conflict, maybe tension between spouses, pressure from extended family, or worry about supporting many relatives, and the emotional load grows heavier. Young people may feel they have to succeed quickly, academically or financially. Older adults may feel responsible for everybody. These stressors do not automatically mean mental illness, but they do increase the risk of anxiety, depression, and emotional distress, especially when support systems are weak. And I think that's the key message. Stress does not mean weakness. It means you're human. Honestly, if anything, pretending you're not stressed is usually the less healthy option.
Right, that's true. Sometimes the strongest face in the room is the most tired one, yeah?
Yes, exactly. And that's why we need more honest conversations. because people are often carrying much more than we realize.
We'll take a very short break here. When we come back, we'll talk about where people can seek help, why professional support matters, and how families and communities can respond with compassion instead of judgment. Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Cultural Conversations. I'm Bala, and we're speaking with Lisa about mental health in the Gambia, breaking the silence. Lisa, many people hesitate to seek professional help. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes cost, sometimes just not knowing where to go. Why is medical or psychological support so important?
Professional support can make a tremendous difference because trained providers help people make sense of what they're experiencing. A doctor, counselor, psychologist, psychiatric nurse, or another trained mental health worker can assess symptoms, identify risks, and help a person build healthier coping strategies. Depending on the situation, support may include talk therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, family support, or a combination of approaches. The earlier someone gets appropriate care, the better the chances of improving quality of life and preventing things from getting worse. And this matters even more when services are limited. Recent health reporting around the Gambia has highlighted that, like many lower-income countries, mental health services still face shortages in funding and trained personnel. At the same time, there has been real movement. Health authorities and partners have been working on mental health reforms, including stakeholder work around a mental health bill and efforts to bring care closer to communities through frontline training. So, progress is happening, but public understanding has to grow alongside the system. Seeking help is not failure. It's courage. It's self-care.
That's encouraging, especially the part about reforms and community-level training. So things are not perfect, but they're moving.
Exactly. And according to recent international reporting tied to the Gambia, mental health is being framed more and more as not just a health issue, but also a development issue, a human rights issue, and even an economic issue. One recent investment case estimated that mental health conditions, including depression, anxiety, substance use disorders, epilepsy, and suicide, cost the country a measurable share of national output, with most of that burden coming from lost productivity. In other words, silence is expensive, not just emotionally, but socially and economically too.
Wow, that really puts it into perspective. Let's bring it closer to home. Families and communities play such a major role in Gambian life. What can ordinary people actually do to support someone who may be struggling emotionally?
Sometimes the most powerful thing is also the simplest. Listen. Really listen. Not rushing to judge, not dismissing, not saying, "You'll be fine, just get over it." Create a safe space where someone can speak honestly. Check in on them regularly. Encourage them to seek help if the distress is ongoing or severe. If they feel overwhelmed, help them connect with a trusted relative, a health worker, a counselor, or another supportive person. And please avoid hurtful labels. Those labels can push people deeper into isolation. Communities can also do more at a broader level. Schools can teach emotional awareness. Workplaces can take stress seriously. Religious leaders can speak with compassion and encourage support instead of shame. Local organizations can create awareness in ways that fit the culture. When people feel respected rather than mocked, they're much more likely to ask for help before a crisis develops.
Before we wrap up, let's tackle a few myths. What are some common misconceptions about mental health that you would really like to challenge?
There are several. One big myth is that only weak people experience mental health problems. That's simply false. Mental health challenges can affect anyone, regardless of age, education, income, or social status. Another myth is that people should just snap out of it. But conditions like depression and anxiety are not choices. Recovery often takes time, support, and appropriate care. There's also the misconception that talking about mental health somehow creates problems. Actually, informed and respectful conversation usually reduces stigma and helps people seek support earlier. And maybe one more myth, that if someone looks functional, they must be fine. That's not always true. A person can be smiling, working, studying, even joking, and still struggling deeply inside. So, We have to learn to take emotional pain seriously, even when it isn't obvious.
That's such an important reminder. People don't always look like what they're going through.
Exactly. And the more we understand mental health through evidence, empathy, and open dialogue, the healthier our communities become.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing these thoughtful insights. One message really stands out from our conversation. Mental health is part of overall health, and no one should have to suffer in silence. To everyone listening, if you or someone you know is dealing with persistent emotional distress, reaching out to a trusted health professional, counselor, supportive family member, or another trusted person can be an important first step. Recovery is possible, and asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Thank you, Bala. And I just want to say to listeners, gently, if you're struggling, you're not alone. There is no shame in speaking up. Even one conversation can be the beginning of healing.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and follow for more useful conversations around the world. I'm your host, Balla. Until next time, stay safe and have a wonderful day.